And now, take a deep, cleansing breath, releasing all thoughts of the past, fear, judgment. Exhale everything that no longer serves you in this moment. And with each breath, you become more clear, more awake, more aware of the essence, the truth of who you are, which is only love. In this moment, all is in divine order. In this state of being, there is only love. Envision the toning and the vibration of these magnificent bowls to permeate every cell of your being, bringing perfect health and whole and love. Together we have created a vortex of healing, transformation, and light. Take a moment to invite a situation, a friend or a loved one who may be in need of healing, yourself. Invite them into our circle. And now envision the healing white light of God washing clean, bringing wholeness and healing to each and every one of us, our friends, our family, and all of our brothers and sisters. Holy Spirit, Mother, Father, God, we accept this healing now. We give thanks and know that we are reborn. We are free of our past, and we open up to live by your will, your love, and your peace. And so it is. Well, as if that wasn't they like this space. I can feel that. Wow, that was powerful. Yeah, and what a beautiful space this is. We're so blessed. And today my talk is about living in flow, going with the flow of change and being open to it, because it is all good. But I got an email from Bill. You sent it to me, and I felt like, we are having a little bit of lightness, not that we're that serious ever around here, but that we'd have some fun today. I found some funny things that I want to share, and I'll weave it in. But these are true postings at different churches that I thought they were. So you've probably seen these. I think even Barbara had sent me something like this a while ago. But this is just to start us off. I know Joel Osteen always starts off with a joke, and so I'm going to give it a whirl today. But these postings are so funny, and it says, just to remember that the fasting and prayer conference includes meals. The sermon this morning, Jesus walks on the water. The sermon tonight, searching for Jesus. If these are true, then oh my gosh. Ladies, don't forget the rummage sale. It's a chance to get rid of those things not worth keeping around the house. Bring your husbands. Don't let worry kill you off. Let the church help. Let's see. Miss Charlene Mason sang, "I will not pass this way again," giving obvious pleasure to the congregation. So, for those of you who have children and don't know it, we have a nursery downstairs. Oh, let's see. So it says, Irving Benson and Jessie Carter were married on October 24th in the church. So ends a friendship that began in their school days. And the last one here says, a bean supper will be held on Tuesday evening in the church hall and music will follow. So there you go. So we can always lift that vibe up, and it's always good to laugh. So this, as you all that have been around a while, and obviously this past, since January, we've gone through monumental change. It's unbelievable, really. It's kind of like this revolving door, and we actually had to move out of our beautiful home on King Street, but sure enough, thanks be to the wonderful folks here at Highland Lake, Linda and Jack Group, and the rest of the crew here, we have this beautiful place to use on Sundays, thank God. Leela's Garden just moved us right in over there, so we never missed a beat. We've just been, all of our needs have been met. We've been inspired and led to get our own land, our own building. Sure enough, that is happening. The land is paid for. We're yeah. And it's just been a miracle. It's been a miracle. And I know that the person who did this did not donate the major funding for this for any reason except to serve us. And I have to honor you, Mary Fakay. You are really, it's beyond amazing. And yet, so it's being willing to be open and live in the flow and follow the voice and knowing it's all okay. So we've got, we're going to be closing, I would suspect, in the next couple of weeks on the land. And we're looking forward to co-creating the space for the new center and getting financing and just getting this project done. So in the meantime, change again. We figured that we're looking into the possibility of renting a space for the next year so we can have everything consolidated rather than this here, that there, and that's certainly a possibility that we're looking into. So that's revealing itself every moment, and I know that if it's meant to be, that's going to be perfect as well. So anyway, speaking of change, I was in, Ellen and I are going to be living in little change this week. We are going to be picking up her grandchildren on Thursday, and we're going to have them for 6 or 7 weeks. So we're going to have a 7 and a 9-year-old at the house. The cat and the 2 dogs, and good. They're beautiful, sweet kids. You couldn't ask for better kids, and we're looking really forward to it. Unfortunately, the circumstances that are leading to this are not so wonderful, but they're perfect. And we just ask that you keep David, her son-in-law, in your prayers for the next 6 or 7 weeks. So, so that's a big change. So I've never had a kid. I like kids, I love kids, but I've never had one. So I'm telling Ellen, no, we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and they're going to eat this, and they're not going to. And she's like, well, we'll see. So we'll see. The kids are either going to love me or hate me at the end of this. I don't know. But, and of course, another flow of change, my parents, I was up in West Virginia for a quick trip this week early on, and 91 and 85, definitely slowing down, but all in all doing well, and I'm always grateful to be there. And sure enough, while I'm there, my father's at 91, he's still very much into his routine. And so part of the routine is he wants to go out to lunch every day. And then you go to the post office, and so we got these little running around things. And so the last day I'm there, Wednesday, of course it's a 6.5-hour drive, and I knew I had, I wanted to get back here before dark. So I was waiting, and of course he's still meticulous. He shaves and he combs his hair, and he's like the most, meticulous person, dresses, very neatly. And so I stuck my head in, and he's, this, and the next time I stuck my head in, it's this. And so I'm out helping my mom with her lunch, and I'm like, where's Dad? And I walk back in the bedroom, and he's sound asleep. And I said, and now it's like 1:30, and Bob Evans is waiting for for us at this point. We go to Bob Evans almost every meal. And so I said, Dad, he goes, oh, you ready to go? I said, yeah, for 2 hours. But it's just being willing, being open, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. And of course, if you've ever driven 23 from here to West Virginia, you probably haven't had a need to, but there's a lot of small towns, not much cell phone service. Radio is scattered, but when you do get talk radio, I can promise you it's either Baptist or conservative talk radio. So I love it all. I listen, so Rush Limbaugh just happened to be on, and got my fill of Rush, and then was listening to Sean Hannity one time, and he was interviewing Donald Trump. Now, so I said, okay, I want to listen to this. So there was actually something that resonated with me because, again, this process of just being open and led and guided, to some people think that I maybe not as, that I need a plan. And so it's, but it's, hey, there's a loose plan here at work. But Donald Trump supports me in this, and I'll tell you why. And if he can do it, by golly, we can too. And what he talked about was that Sean Hannity had said, Donald, there's a lot of people out there saying that you're not giving enough details and points to all of these issues that you talk about. And he's like, "What? That's not how I operate." And of course, I'm the richest man, and I've made billions of dollars and blah, blah, blah. And he says, but the way he operates, he says he just bought, Turnberry Golf Resort, which is a really big deal. It's now Trump Turnberry. And he said, I didn't have a plan. I just decided I wanted it and I went and got it. And but there's a lot to be said for that, because it's kind of like we get that spark of inspiration, and it's like if you just let it go, Spirit is taking the reins here in a big way. I don't want to screw it up with my plan, my little-mindedness. There's a huge plan at work, and it's taken care of. And we're certainly doing what we need to do, and we're not reckless. I can promise you that, because Spirit's not reckless. But it's going with the flow and being willing to change. A big this venue change for today, which, oh my God, when I walked in here today, we reaped the benefits of the lights from the wedding last night, and the tables and the beautiful chairs. And Debbie, who works here at Highland Lake, was so accommodating. She was terrific, and just set this. What a blessing. And yay, yeah, that's right. The amphitheater is lovely. It's beautiful, and of course you've got nature as your backdrop. But my gosh, look at this. I feel like this is a 5-star Sunday service. It's very awesome. So, again, I couldn't have made a better plan than this. This was just pulled together in a day and a half. So it's thank you, God. Thank you, Highland Lake, Debbie, Linda, Jack, everybody everybody. And I'm affirming this and repeating this because, as Marianne Williamson says, all we have to remember are 2 things. And that is, number 1, God's plan works. Number 2, yours doesn't. And so if we just do, if you 2 points to live your life by, there's 2 strong points. But it was great. Now, time for another little joke about Donald Trump. I just cracked up. I read this to Ellen this morning, and I said, someone had said, I crack up when people say I'll vote for him. He speaks his mind. Since when does speaking your mind make you a presidential material? My drunk uncle always speaks his mind. Maybe he should run. It's so true. I just thought that was funny. It's like, he's speaking his mind, but he's speaking his truth. So it's all good. The debates were interesting. I loved watching that. Not that I'm that political, but it's such a great show, It's like, wow, it's just, there's nothing natural about it. It's just like, it's wonderful. And by the way, just on the side, I said I was going to keep it light today. Why did the cows return to the marijuana field? It was the pot calling the cattle back. But I really think we got to keep a sense of humor. The world is heavy today. There's a lot of stuff going on, and laughter can lift us right out of the vibration. Was it Norman Cousins who recommended healing with comedies? Just when people would come to him and have terminal illness, he'd say, just watch funny movies all the time, because that's a healing vibe, joy and laughter, and that's how we heal, not the heaviness. There's a lot of that going on. So the more we can stay light and loving and appreciative and just in a good vibe, we're doing a lot of good work, not for only ourselves, but for the whole planet. And in case you didn't know this, I am flexible as long as everything's exactly the way I want it. And actually, that was a posting on Facebook that has this cat. I am totally flexible as long as everything's exactly the way that I want it. So, but it is a time of great change. We're not living in a world that we're familiar with. It's not, the old systems just don't seem to be jiving right now. That we're not able to hold on to anything for comfort and support. And But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we're co-creating a world where peace and love are prevailing and reign. And, it's kind of like that God's plan works, yours doesn't. The old paradigm has to be released before we can welcome in the new one. And so I like this thought here, and it says, the more you go with the flow of life and surrender the outcome to God, the less you seek constant clarity, and the more you will find that fabulous things tend to show up in your life. So it's we don't have to have all the answers. It's just trust that flow, the full surrender of saying, okay, I don't know, show me a better way. I choose peace. My way is obviously not worked up to this point, or it's not working anymore, so show me another way. And I don't have to have that clarity, I just have to have the willingness to be open and be led. And Latsu says that life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality, and let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. If we could just let go and let life flow whatever way it needs to, trust in the process, it would be amazing. It would be so much greater than anything that our mortal minds can imagine. It would be just like, wow. And knowing even if something's a little painful and not so much fun at the time, that it is necessary for our evolution, our awakening. Everything has to be sort of shaken out and released. So Grace Jones, another great prophet, says, I just go with the flow. I follow the yellow brick road. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I follow it. And it's so true. And what a great movie and metaphor The Wizard of Oz was. Just follow the yellow brick road and just surrender to that process. I just, every moment, just pay attention to where Spirit is guiding and leading me. And if I hit a bump, like the mud over at the other place, it's like, okay, no need to worry. Carrie, we're not doing it here. Promise it'll be done. Okay, next time. So we got that. I called Debbie, and it just within 10 minutes, what perceived problem it may have been, solved. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. All our needs are met. But if we get into this story of are you familiar with the idea of finding all the reasons something can't work? Well, guess what? Guess what your outcome will be? It's not going to work. And so you got to look at it and say, okay, I surrender. In the mind of God, there is no limit. There are unlimited possibilities in spirit. So I've got to be willing to surrender to that. Because as our faith gets stronger, we find that there's no longer the need to have a sense of control, and things will show up and flow as they will, and that will flow forth with them with great delight and great benefits. So it's that control thing, I know people in the past have said I'm a little controlling. And maybe I think I was in the past, and I think the need to control is from fear, that if I don't do it and if I don't control this, it's not going to work. Well, that's exhausting, and it doesn't work nearly as well, because it's just like I look out here and I see just a choir of angels all here bringing their perfect role to this beautiful Namaste Center, co-creating. Just people just show up. This morning, Kelly, for example, she noticed that Heidi didn't have the CDs. Next thing you know, she's goes and gets the CDs. Brings this table, which I don't know where I would have put my stuff if I didn't have this table, but she goes over to Kudzu, brings it over. And so, everybody's just sort of in this flow and synchronicity of everything working out. And, I can be helpful here or whatever. And it's beautiful. It's amazing. So it's, it's practice, it's willingness, it's openness. And, we're so blessed to have each other, because the kindness and the compassion that people bring forth to each other and to this center is love. It's true love, and it's so spirit-led. It's wonderful. And so, if we can just go with the flow, just play, it's a dance. Just be willing to go with that dance of life, not allowing ourselves to attach too much meaning or any meaning to any of it. Being in gratitude, open our hearts and our minds. It's fantastic. So, in a couple of things I want to say before I close, and the last one is a really great statement that I just found, I think last night or this morning. But before I go there, flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting whatever you're doing. This is the ultimate. And if we can just go with the flow with whatever's happened, keep our monkey mind out of it, quit trying to make sense out of it, because this world just doesn't seem to be making much sense these days. Open up. That is the ultimate. And there's many great gifts. And I like this quote because it sort of supports what I'm talking about here today, and living in a miracle mind. And it's from Thich Nhat Hanh, and he says, people say walking on water is a miracle, but to me, walking peacefully on earth is the real miracle. So I choose miracles for each and every one of us. We're so blessed to have each other support us on the process. Let's just be open to the flow and celebrate the day with a great meal together. And remember, peace and love prevail on earth, and so it is. Namaste.